This is New Testament, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, 1 to 17. And yesterday we were talking about how it's important to remember the long-term view, that God is coming back, that judgment will come, and that he's going to judge his people, and he's going to judge those who oppressed his people and all that kind of stuff. And that sometimes the long-term view helps us to get the short-term view right. And I was thinking about this in chapter 2. Paul really writes the extreme other problem. So one problem is that we kind of live a life as though this is all there is, and we forget that there actually is a whole other realm and a whole other kingdom, and that God's coming back to set things right. And that forgetfulness can cause us to be discouraged and lose heart. But on the other extreme, we can be so focused on how that's going to happen and when that's going to happen and when Jesus is coming back and what the signs of that's going to be and when the end times are and if we're living in the end times or if we're not living in the end times. It goes on and on. We could write whole book series on this. We could have whole movies on this. It could incite fear in people and focus people on those events instead of the current events that we're living in now, which is that God's requiring us to be faithful and righteous and good and persevering and faith-telling and witnessing right now. And so Paul basically in chapter 2 is saying, and then also, even though we know that God is coming again and his judgments are good, his righteousness is right, and he's going to make everything right, he said we don't have to be fixed on what that's going to look like exactly, because it doesn't really matter, because in the meantime, before he comes, we have lots to do, and we have lives that demand attention and a character that needs some attention. And so basically Paul says, look, we know that we can stand firm, that he's coming, and when he comes, we have nothing to be afraid of, because he's for us, not against us. But also we don't have to be drawn into this like long and lengthy and, big thing about what it's going to be exactly like and when he's coming and how it's going to unfold, because we're his and he's got us and everything's going to be okay. So somehow there's a way to walk, not ignorant of the judgments of God and the coming end of things, and also not completely consumed by them. There's a place where we can come into security with the Lord, knowing who we are and knowing whose we are, and he's got us and that things are going to be okay.